The subject of beauty, especially when it applies to plastic surgery, can make you ask a lot of questions. It's ripe with hermeneutical possibilities. You may question if beauty really even exists at all. Isn't it in the eye of the beholder? Remember those cliches? The ones that say, beauty is only skin deep. They're true, aren't they? On the epistemological continuum, we'd have to agree that beauty is way over on the subjective side. It's a learned thing, right? Taught to us by our culture. So, to each his own. Well, that's what I used to think. I had my sacred certainties about beauty, and I didn't want to even think about the other possibilities. But then I chanced upon a fascinating 5-year study by developmental psychologist Alan Slater of Exeter University. Dr. Slater measured the amount of time infants who were only a few days old would spend staring at various faces. The faces ranged from those that were symmetrical, proportionate, and beautiful to being so distorted that they were downright deformed. According to the study, infants would stare longer and interact more with faces that were deemed to be attractive. So that means the babies would stare longer at a face like this than they would at a face like this. I was, however, not convinced that this proved anything about beauty or what babies know about it. After all, babies have pretty bad eyesight in the first place, don't they? But I was intrigued, so I looked into it a little deeper. I was surprised to find out that mathematicians had been using a ratio for years to determine symmetry and to help identify beauty. My searches led me even further into the magic of this ratio, 1 to 1.618 yada yada yada, or pi. This ratio, used to compare parts of something to the whole, can be very precise, and it's seen everywhere. After I knew what I was looking for, I did see it everywhere, in the spirals of a sunflower, in the swirls of an aloe vera. From the tiniest speck of life, like a cross-section of DNA, to the biggest stuff out there, like an entire galaxy. Seems that the classical artists had this ratio stuff figured out a long time ago. It's also been very lucrative for the plastic surgery business. Turns out that a former plastic surgeon by the name of Stephen Marquardt used all of these facial ratios, and he developed a series of masks that can be used for men or women. He called these his divine proportions mask. They can be superimposed onto any facial image to see how close its features are to fitting the golden measurements. It's kind of eerie because famous faces considered beautiful for a long time, such as this Nefertiti bust, fit the mask perfectly. Of course, so does Tom Cruise, so I don't know what that tells you. Before you start thinking that this mask forces a Stepford Wives sort of conformity of an aesthetic ideal, consider the fact that all of these faces fit it perfectly, even though they are of various ethnicities. And, as I said before, men can use the mask as well. So, is it really symmetry and order that we see as beauty? Is chaos somehow inherently ugly? I was still feeling really skeptical about this concept of mathematically provable beauty, so I turned my investigation away from the human form to nature. I asked myself, is this scene beautiful? And if so, why is it? Then I applied the same question to this chaotic natural scene. I asked, is this beautiful? Why or why not? Okay, I was really starting to have some fun, so I decided to apply it to the inside of my home. Let's take a look at this cupboard. Is it beautiful? How do we know? What about this kitchen? Would this be considered beautiful? Why or why not? With nature, it seemed to be so much easier to say that we prefer this to this. But when we start to get a little more personal, I get uncomfortable. I don't want to say that this is a beautiful closet and that this is an attractive closet and that this is merely an average closet. Maybe I'm uncomfortable assigning these labels because I know that I am kind of more of the average closet and I can never hope to attain the beauty of the first closet, not unless I win the lottery. So when it applies to our faces or our homes, beauty is something that can be bought. I just don't feel comfortable with. This journey to answers has taken me back to where I began, which is more questions than answers. I still know that I think this is beautiful to me, and that this more chaotic scene is just not. I really don't know why, but it's just the way it is. I will go wherever the questions lead me, though, no matter how unsettling they might be. And if the questions lead me to mathematics as a pathway to find the answers about beauty, then I certainly will just have to stand back in awe.